Welcome to the next episode of the Dark Web Deacon. Before we begin, be sure to smash that subscribe button, click the bell to turn on notifications, and check out the latest items in the Dark Web Deacon merch store. There is a link in the video description below, and become a true Dark Web enthusiast. New videos are published every Monday and Thursday. You've heard the rumors. You've read the shocking news stories. For this list, we're going to tackle the top 10 dark web myths and urban legends, fact or fiction.
Number 1.
The dark web is 10 times the size of the normal internet. This myth is false. The biggest myth by far is that the dark web is 10 times larger than the internet. This gets propagated by tabloid media all the time. It stems from a lot of people using the term deep web and dark web interchangeably when they are very different. The deep web is just everything that you won't reach using Google or any other search engine, such as the pages behind a paywall or a password for your bank account, for example. The dark web makes up a tiny fraction of the deep web. It's infinitely smaller than the clear web also. The darkness online, a study published by King's College London, in all found that researchers found 300,000 addresses within the Tor network, comprising roughly 205,000 web pages. By contrast, Google estimates that the open web comprises 30 trillion pages back in March of 2013. In other words, the dark web may be dark, but it's also tiny. Now, there is more to the dark web than just Tor, but this gives a representative sample of the actual size in comparison to the surface web.
Number 2.
Swatting. This myth is true. Swatting is a criminal harassment tactic of deceiving emergency services by sending the police and emergency service response team to another person's address. Serial swatter Tyler Barris sentenced to 20 years for the death of a Kansas man shot by police. Andrew Finch, 28, was shot and killed by police outside his Kansas home in December of 2017 after Barris's hoax 911 call. On December 28, 2017, Barris contacted police to say he was at home in Wichita, Kansas, where he said he had fatally shot his father and was holding the rest of his family hostage. Officers responded to the Wichita address and demanded that anyone inside the McCormick Street come out. Confused, Andrew Finch, 28, steps outside where he raised and dropped his hands several times before an officer opened fire, killing him. Barris called in false report to the police department at the behest of two gamers, Casey Viner, 18, and Shane Gaskill, 25, authorities said. Viner asked Barris to make the call as an act of retaliation against Gaskill after a game of Call of Duty ended badly.
Number 3.
Blackmail via doxing. This myth is true. Doxing is searching for and publishing private or identifiable information about a particular individual on the internet, typically with malicious intent. The Black Mirror episode Shut Up and Dance illustrated blackmail via doxing perfectly. Also, in December 2011, Anonymous exposed detailed information of 7,000 members of law enforcement in response to investigations into hacking activities. In November 2014, Anonymous also began releasing the identities of members of the Ku Klux Klan. This was in relation to local Klan members in Ferguson, Missouri, making threats to shoot anyone who provoked them while protesting the shooting of Michael Brown. Another doxing example occurred in 2017, when a hacker targeted Fish Kings and figured out what appears to be his real identity and attempted to extort him. Fish Kings was running an elaborate network of fake marketplaces designed to look exactly like the originals, with the key difference: when a customer logged into the fake account, their information was sent to Fish Kings.
Number 4.
Red rooms. This myth is false. Red rooms are allegedly hidden websites or services on the dark web where you can see and or participate in interactive torture or murder. An enduring myth propagated by Hollywood and pop culture in many recent movies and TV shows, sinister and sadistic watchers pay, comment, and egg on would-be captors in such films as Fear.com, Running Man, Untraceable, and Unfriended Dark Web. There is no hard evidence that they exist, since streaming is not supported on dark web browsers. There's also no evidence of pay-per-view sites to watch someone's death. The one caveat to red rooms is that Facebook Live deaths and streaming deaths have happened, and so that myth is true. In April 2017, the death of Robert Goodwin is a good example. Goodwin was shot at close range in Cleveland as he walked home from an Easter meal with his family. His attacker, Steve Steffend, filmed a first-person view of the shooting and uploaded it to his Facebook page, where it remained for more than 2 hours and was copied and reposted millions of times.
Number 5.
DIY kits. This myth is true. From making your own guns with a 3D printer, such as an AR-15, a Beretta, or a Ruger, to making your own ecstasy lab for $3, to making your own drugs, from MDMA to cocaine to heroin to LSD, even the ultimate ATM hacking tutorial to hack any ATM, or DIY surgery kits. Do your own vasectomy. Ouch. Also, DIY beauty injections are hitting both the surface web and the dark web. Vendors like Amazon are trying to crack down, which will lead to more of these products finding their way onto the dark web. Many facial fillers are injected into what's known as the danger triangle, the area around the mouth and nose. That area is anatomically complex, and the wrong procedure can impact the brain. The risks include tissue death, permanent blindness, and disfigurement, according to experts.
Number 6.
Buying weapons. This myth is true. There used to be several dozen Amazon-like sites on the dark web that operated buying and selling weapons, along with one-off chat rooms and forums. However, after the shutdown of several major sites, many of the alternative sites banned the sale of actual weapons and ammo. Deep Web Gun Store is one that is operating. All prices include shipping and handling, all goods are 100% verified and tested multiple times, and all weapons are delivered with 50 bullets for free. Also, they claim to allow shipping within 24 hours after placing an order, and guns can be received worldwide in less than 72 hours after your order is mailed. They offer everything from AK-47s to XM110s. Details on the weapons and lots of pictures and verifiable information appears to be on the website, including additional add-ons such as scopes, sniper stands, and ammo, along with customized weapons and accessories.
Number 7.
Professional Hitman. This myth is false. Early dark web sites where individuals tried to convey the Hollywood image of what a hitman was were all eventually proven to be scams. Bessa Mafia in December 2015 was an exchange that offered to link Hitman up to customers but admitted most were gang members or drug addicts. And eventually this site was proven to be a scam too. No action was ever carried out, and the site looked to be traced back to one person. Now, this does not mean people have not been caught submitting murder-for-hire contracts out on the dark web to undercover agents. Stephen Allwine, 44, of Cottage Grove, Minnesota, killed his wife Amy Allwine, 43. A criminal complaint filed in January 2017 alleges Stephen Allwine attempted to hire a hitman to murder Amy, but his plan fell apart. He eventually carried out the murder himself and made it look like a suicide. Amy Allwine was found dead on November 13th of 2016. Also, 33-year-old Santa Barbara film student and YouTube personality Bo Brigham, for example, who was duped into forking over $10,000 to a hitman site to have his stepmother killed, was convicted and sentenced to 3 years in prison later that year.
Number 8.
Crimes against children. This myth is true. The dark web is rife with content that is beyond the pale. Everything from images to videos of mental and physical abuse. Just downloading this content is considered a crime in most countries for good reason. Matthew Falder was caught as part of the multinational task force Sting that brought down the dark web's pedo empire network, which is run by Australian Matthew Graham. Hurt to the Core was a pedo empire site dedicated to sourcing, sharing, and discussing all aspects of hurtcore. Hurtcore is a fetish of people who get aroused by the infliction of pain or even torture on another person who is not a willing participant. If the good side of the spectrum of the dark web is that it can be used as a vehicle to protect whistleblowers and free speech in oppressive governments. Child predators are definitely on the other side of the spectrum of the dark web.
Number 9.
Drugs. This myth is true. Silk Road was the first Amazon-like site in the dark web and was famous for this. Today, there are still several dozen Amazon-like sites that still operate along with the buying and selling in one-off chat rooms and forums. A multitude of different types of drugs and chemicals can easily be purchased and shipped around the world.
Number 10.
Marianas Web. This myth is false. This is by far the biggest myth of them all, the Marianas Web. The legend of Marianas Web appears to get its name from the deepest part of the ocean, the Marianas Trench. It's supposedly the deepest part of the web, a forbidden place of mysterious evil, or at least that's the mythos a subset of online believers have cultivated. A section even deeper and darker than the known dark web, where only a few special people have access to it. The dark web's version of Atlantis. A few hardcore believers say the Marianas is home to an all-powerful female artificial intelligence entity. Matrix, anyone? Others claim it is supposedly only accessible through quantum computers. Myths often get started by people who don't understand what they are seeing or reading, and this is a perfect example of that. Thanks for watching, and as always, please like, subscribe, and provide comments, and turn on notifications by clicking the bell in order to check out future videos published twice a week.